Before Rome adopted Christianity, before the Vatican became the face of the Church, there was Ethiopia, already Christian, already thriving, already deeply spiritual. Let that sink in for a moment. When people talk about ancient Christianity, they often think of Rome, Jerusalem, or maybe Constantinople. But the truth is, one of the oldest continuous Christian civilizations in the world is found in East Africa, Ethiopia. And here's the wild part. Unlike most African nations, Ethiopia was never colonized, not by the British, not by the French, not even by the Portuguese or Italians. Ethiopia's independence was not only political, it was spiritual. This spiritual autonomy meant Ethiopian Christianity could develop on its own terms, free from the pressures, edicts, and religious politics that shaped the Western Church. Let's go way back in time to the Kingdom of Aksum. The Kingdom of Aksum was a powerful African empire that existed from around 80 BCE to 825 CE. It controlled parts of present-day Ethiopia, Eritrea, Djibouti, and even Yemen. It was one of the great world empires of its time, listed alongside Rome, Persia, and China. Aksum minted its own gold and silver coins, traded with India and Byzantium, and built incredible obelisks still standing today. And guess what? In 330 AD, Aksum became one of the very first nations in the world to officially adopt Christianity as a state religion, even before the Roman Empire. How did that happen? Well, it was through a man named Frumentius. Frumentius was actually a young Syrian Christian who ended up in Ethiopia after a shipwreck. He was brought to the Aksumite court, where he really impressed the king with his knowledge and character. Eventually, after the king died, Frumentius became a trusted advisor to the queen and even helped raise the royal prince, Ezana. It was under Ezana's rule that Ethiopia embraced Christianity officially, with Frumentius consecrated as the very first bishop of Aksum by the Patriarch of Alexandria. But here's the key difference. While Roman Christianity was becoming entangled with empire, politics, and theological power struggles, Ethiopian Christianity was growing with its own traditions, its own sacred texts, and its own spiritual authority. This early foundation laid the groundwork for a completely unique version of Christianity that remained indigenous, African, and uncolonized. Let's talk about something rare in African history, an entire country that told colonial invaders, "Not today, Satan." During the height of the scramble for Africa in the late 19th century, European powers were carving up the continent like a pie. Britain got Nigeria, France got Senegal, and Portugal got Mozambique. Belgium took the Congo and, wreaked unimaginable horrors. But when Italy tried to colonize Ethiopia, they were met with resistance so fierce and united that it changed global history. At the Battle of Adwa in 1896, Ethiopian forces led by Emperor Menelik II crushed the Italian army. This was no minor skirmish. This was an epic victory that shocked Europe and inspired black liberation movements around the world. Ethiopia became a global symbol of African independence and pride. Black thinkers, revolutionaries, and Pan-Africanists, from Marcus Garvey to Nelson Mandela, drew strength from Ethiopia's triumph. Why does this matter for the Bible? Well, because while colonialism twisted religion into a tool of empire across much of Africa, Ethiopia's Christian faith actually remained untouched. That means their scriptures, traditions, and beliefs stayed intact, passed down without interference from Rome, England, or, any European power. The result? An ancient Bible untouched by colonial rewrites. So here's the beautiful twist. Ethiopia preserved some of the oldest, most complete, and most mysterious biblical texts in the world. Written in Ge'ez, a sacred Semitic language still chanted in Ethiopian Orthodox churches. Stored in mountain monasteries, guarded by monks who devote their lives to keeping the scrolls safe. And containing entire books missing from the Western Bible. The Ethiopian Bible is over 81 books long, compared to 66 in the Protestant Bible and 73 in the Catholic Bible. Books like Enoch, describing angels, giants, and visions of heaven. Then there's Jubilees, offering deep insights into the law. And Maccabean, not to be confused with Maccabees. These are unique Ethiopian texts. This is the version of the Bible that hasn't been edited by colonial hands, filtered through Latin translations, or cut by church councils like the one at Nicaea. It's raw, it's real, and it's powerful. Why this part matters in the bigger picture is, Well, if Ethiopia had been colonized like the rest of Africa, this version of the Bible might have been lost, destroyed, or rewritten to fit empire. But because Ethiopia stood firm, the truths inside their sacred scrolls survived. And now in our time, the age of digital information and cultural awakening, people around the world are beginning to uncover what's been hidden for so long. This is why, scholars, spiritual seekers, historians, and just everyday people are turning their eyes toward Ethiopia, not just as a nation, but really as a spiritual archive, a place where ancient truth still lives. They tried to bury the truth, but Ethiopia remembered. In the part 2, we'll dive into the language, construction, and content of the Ethiopian Bible and why it looks nothing like the version sitting on your coffee table today. Make sure you don't miss it.